you. Good evening. Welcome to our regularly scheduled meeting of November 16th, 2015 for the council. Jody, if you could lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dolores?
Councillor Bello,
Here.
Councillor Hemmon,
Here.
Councillor Hurley,
Here.
Councillor Latina,
Here.
Councillor Martino,
Here.
Councillor Rao,
Here.
Councillor Spinella,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Barry,
Here.
and Mayor Montanari.
Here. Nice job with the new names, Dolores. Good job. You'll be a pro next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, our first order of business is a hearing item, public comments only on the hearing item. This is an ordinance amending our Chapter 10 of our article of the Code of the Town of Wethersfield as it pertains to the members of the Advisory Committee for People with Disabilities. Is anybody here this evening that wants to address that particular hearing item? Lee?
I could. I've been on this committee for many years.
Well, we can get you the microphone, Lee. Hang on. Thank you, Mike.
Do you want to come over here?
Just want it on the recording, Lee. Thank you.
Lee Seekis, 117 Wells Road. I've been on the advisory committee on and off for many years. And the main reason this ordinance is coming forward is having difficulty having a quorum at our meetings. And I do say we do need more citizens to participate in matters that affect them and their neighbors, not just things that affect them. Because we all live together, we all should care about one another. And I'm all for what's about to happen. I thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Other members of the public wishing to speak on this hearing item? Last call. Seeing none, I declare the hearing closed. We'll move on to 2A, public comments on any topic. Anyone wishing to speak this evening, public comment? Wishing to speak? Tom?
Tom Mazzarella, 600 Walcott Hill Road. First, I want to congratulate the returning council members and welcome those newly appointed councilors. I've been attending town council meetings for the last few months because of my concerns with the rising cost of living in Wethersfield. For the past 39 years, I've been working to raise a family, have a nice home, pay college tuitions, along with all those other day-to-day living expenses. Sometimes it feels like a mouse on a wheel, always trying to stay ahead. And honestly, I didn't pay that much attention to the taxes we as Wethersfield residents pay. It was just another bill that needed to be paid. I used to pass by houses in town that looked a little run down. Maybe they needed a coat of paint, or a gutter was in need of repair, or the lawn was not well kept. I used to think, what's with these people? Why don't they clean up the properties? Now I've come to realize that many of these Wethersfield homeowners were retired and living on fixed incomes, and that they are struggling just to meet their basic needs, the food bills, the heat, medical expenses, and to keep their homes. I have an article here that appeared in the Hartford Courant on November 8th that I would like to share concerning Social Security benefits. I know that Councilor Martino said he was retired, and maybe one other senior Republican councilor that I won't name is nearing retirement.
Thanks, Tom.
Class of 7. Class of 7.
No shame there, Donna.
But I feel the article is worth mentioning to everyone. Social Security benefits will have no cost of living increase for 2016. Many seniors will be stuck with an average monthly check of $1,341. Not a lot of money to live in Wethersfield, if that's all you have coming in. The article goes on to say that the average cost of living adjustment for the past 40 years has been 4.1%. 2016 marks only the third time that Social Security has not increased benefits. All 3 flat years have been since 2010. The reason I bring it up is a 2 or 3% annual tax increase may not seem like much to many of you, but think of the residents that maybe aren't as well off as you council members, or those seniors that are on a fixed income and don't have the option of working extra hours or a part-time job. I've said it before and I'll say it again, Wethersfield is a great place to live and raise a family. My career has taken me to many parts of the world, some nice and some not so nice, but I've always found Wethersfield to be towards the top of my list of great places. But as I start edging towards retirement and look at a fixed income, the constantly increasing tax burden is of great concern. Will I be able to afford to live in Wethersfield? So I ask this new council to please spend our taxpayer money wisely. Take the time to do the research. Maybe an item needs to be tabled until all the questions have been answered. I ask that you all try to make decisions that you truly believe are in the best interest of the residents. Let's try and have a consensus on issues, and not what has become the typical 5-4 votes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tom. Others wishing to speak this evening? Bob?
Good evening, Robert Young, 20 Copper Mill Road. With all the bad things that we're seeing on the television, especially over the last several days, and even more, it just keeps getting worse, Mayor. All this way of running government and all the inadequacies that are going on, the citizens are getting hammered, whether they're citizens in this country or in other countries. And we're going to see more of it, unfortunately. We've already seen our state in dire financial straits. They borrow money to give away to friends and buddies. We have here town council that gives rights away of taxpayer money to organizations who do something. But I've been complaining for a long time that we need to restrain our cost and our spending. But we haven't seen this at all in town of Wethersfield government. We haven't seen any of that, of course, with the state of Connecticut government either. As a matter of fact, it was just a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, we got a good bump on our taxes. This year, we got another big bump on our taxes. How much longer do you think people are going to stay? And we do read in the paper, and we're very much aware that people are migrating. The people with money in their pocket, people with pensions, they're leaving. And who's staying? Those who can't go. And a lot of them can't go because they have certain problems here. Maybe they have elderly that they're staying behind for. But the fact is, we need to do something, and that is to reduce our cost of running this operation. And when I say operation, I mean town of Wethersfield. As we know, the issue in the newspaper about very grave fiscal state for the state of Connecticut was in the paper last week. And Beth Bai, the leader, who has no credentials whatsoever than being a public servant, led a budget that is now in serious trouble. And what does she say in the newspaper? We're in a different kind of recovery. You know, if she had ears and listened, she would have known the recovery that we're going through is different long before she led the budget in Hartford and put us in a big hole. And then, of course, the big hole gets bigger because down here in Wethersfield, as the puppets that we have dangling from the strings, they do the same as Hartford does. And we're going to be in that hole too. As money dries up, Mayor, and I urge you, Go back and look at your budget and skim back. Find spots where you can save money and don't spend it. I recommend, and I've recommended from this podium more than once, especially prior to budget season, that we should be looking at our expenditure and our budget as a business. We should be extrapolating the months that we've gone into, how much has been spent, and putting a freeze on that wasn't spent. And then working our way through to the end of our fiscal year, looking to save money. You want to do economic development, Mayor, that is the way you do it. You're not going to do it by spending like there's no tomorrow. Businesses don't want to come here. Coffee shops. Low income producing jobs will come here, such as warehousing or serving coffees or doing that kind of stuff. We're not getting the scientists that we heard 4 years ago from Malloy, the great guy who knew everything that now has us in big trouble. We didn't get those scientists. We didn't get those people that were going to be making big money. We got the low-income ones. That's all they can make. And it's sad because we have a lot of young people, Mayor, that graduated from college are getting those low wages. And that's sad. That's darn sad, and that's a representative of our own government right here in this town and the state of Connecticut. And now, tonight, I hear on the news that manufacturing is now in a recession. And the rest of the country is in a bumpy situation. And we're not doing well, and we have never recovered from 2008. We've never recovered. The only people that recovered were the wealthy. They kept their big fat paychecks back then. They got bailed out and they enjoyed it and they took bigger raises, and the rest of the people slip them off on the side and don't worry about them. They're indispensable. And here we are. I know Tom just spoke a few moments ago regarding living here in town as a retiree. Doesn't work. That's because this government has increased. You buy big trucks, you buy big bulldozers, you buy backhoes, you buy boats, you buy all kinds of crazy things. You can't, and the rest of us can't buy anything because it's a forced buy. I think I mentioned a month ago, towns such as Wethersfield has been an economic engine to the state of Connecticut by having a high school renovated. But the cost is not being paid by the town of Wethersfield. It's being paid by the taxpayers who are going to be burdened for the next so many years. And then when the next school comes along, more burden and more burden. And you're never going to get out of the rut, Mayor. You got to learn to live like the rest of us. You want to live way up there. Doesn't work. And having us support that way up there, because we can't afford to support that way up there. So I know you're going to be talking about budgets in the next October, November. Where are we? We're in November already. Please consider these people. Tom just mentioned he's talking about retiring. I should have been retired, and I'm still working. So here you go. You got big problems, and I hope, Mayor, you will look at those, and then look at Mr. Malloy. He had his lowest ratings from the citizens of the state of Connecticut. He deserved those low ratings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to speak this evening? Lee?
Lee Seekis, 117 Wells Road. It's that time of year again. Let it snow, let it snow. We are doing a good job repairing some sidewalks and curb cuts. But what goes a curb cut if it's covered with snow and you can't use it. Not just the curb cuts, but the sidewalks themselves. And the best thing about doing your sidewalk is to hit it when it attacks you first. Don't let it pile up and get harder and harder to remove. You can shovel early, you can ice melt, and keep it clean, so it's easy throughout the whole winter. Going back 2, 3, 4 years ago, in Manchester, still have the article home somewhere, a gentleman walking home from a supermarket in the street because the sidewalk wasn't clear, was hit and killed by a car. Do we want that to happen in our town? I've seen people in the streets walking because of the sidewalks being bad. I think there's no reason why we can't fine these people like the law calls for. 1 warning, not 2 or 3. And don't be afraid to fine them again and again. Because after all, it's public safety, and if the town needs money, there's money waiting to be picked. So take care of your citizens, old, young, wheelchair people, baby carriages, people just walking. And in regards to finances, if the senior citizens could have a 0 budget increase in their pension, I think the town should try to aim for the same thing. But I can tell you one thing. It's a question of also waste, not just among the town, but among citizens. And the only good thing I can say about the bad economy we had over the past years, me and a few others, we learned to shop wiser, use our money more efficiently, so we can manage with less, because that's what we have to do if we don't have more. I thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Anyone else wishing to speak this evening? Public comment? Dave?
Good evening, David Kruk at 149 Broad Street. I was watching on TV a little bit, and I heard some of the previous speakers talk about taxes, and that's something I wanted to talk about since taxes went up, and I was not happy about it. And my neighbor, I run on the green, we pay more on taxes for our property than houses in a few blocks away because we're on the green, and my house I haven't done anything to it in 10 years, and it's a little bit in disrepair, but my taxes continue to go up. And to be honest, I was so upset about it. I'm a Democrat, but I didn't vote for one Democrat up there. I voted all Republican except for Councilor Hurley, sorry about that. But you got a lot of votes. But I was hoping the Republicans had the majority, because I don't, whenever Democrats get the majority, it's the taxes go up every year. And when I heard this gentleman here speak about taxes, he's not sure if he's gonna be able to afford to live. If the taxes continue going up at the rate they're going up, I won't be able to afford to live in Wethersfield when I retire. And I'm not happy about it. And we hear about the surplus with the Board of Ed, the $1 million surplus, or almost $1 million. Well, where did that money come from? That's the taxpayers' money. You know, that's the money you just didn't spend. Of course, it's gonna be spent eventually, but why do you have to raise taxes so high? You know, that's one thing I like about the Republicans. They're not into raising taxes so much. And for me, and my family, who don't have a whole lot of money, we live on the green, but we don't have a whole lot of money. You know, it's not a good thing to raise taxes every year. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to council reports. Council reports this evening? Tony?
EDIC met last week. The salute to business will be on December 9th. Guest speaker will be Mike Zaleski from Riverfront Recapture. On the vacant property list, we were advised if someone's interested in looking at the former convalescent home on Jordan Lane. The developer of the apartments was going to have another meeting with the residents to review his plans for the application before going to planning and zoning. And talking to Jeff, I believe that meeting was tonight, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. Clearinghouse Auction will be coming in soon with their plans to renovate the current building and probably adding an additional building in the back. And then the Advisory Commission for People with Disabilities had met. They will be hosting a Thanksgiving dinner for the children in town tomorrow night and a Christmas party for the children next month. The number of unified basketball teams is increasing this year from 3 to 2. And they had some concerns on handicap ramps at the new intersection of Main and Mark. And Mike Turner addressed these, and those are being taken care of.
Thank you, Tony. Other council reports? Council reports? Council comments?
I have one.
Amy?
I attended the library board open house on Thursday night. It was a great opportunity for me as a newcomer to meet the library board and to meet some town staff. And I just want to publicly thank Brooke, the library board, and her staff for a great event.
Thank you, Amy. I think several of us made it over to that. It was very good. She was quite creative and great sense of humor taking us through the tour. Other council comments? Two quick things that I want to share.
I have one.
I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Sorry. There was a meeting tonight with the developers of the new proposed apartment on Ridge Road and the neighbors surrounding that area, and there was a lot of concerns. I hope we kind of keep our eye on that and keep the neighbors. I'm sure they'll be apprised of all the zoning meetings and everything that they can come to voice those concerns.
Thanks, Mike. I'm sure Jeff will make sure that those are posted publicly for information. Anything else? I think most folks know this time of year, we're aware, of course, that there's great need out there in the holiday season. I know that I spoke with Chris Taylor today at Social Services about the food shelf, and that continues to be depleted. I know that there was some fundraising and a couple of efforts over the weekend. There'll be another series of efforts in the next couple of weeks, one that I think is organized by DeSopo's. But I want to share two dates with the community, and I think Dolores will get these posted on the town website, and hopefully our media will perhaps pick it up and get the word out a little bit to our community as one additional support effort. I want to initiate the Coffees with the Mayor again and do a couple of sessions on December 1st and 3rd, which is the week after Thanksgiving, from 7 to 9 in the morning, in exchange for a free coffee and a chance to give any feedback. I would ask for folks to bring a donation. So probably the location will probably be the Wethersfield Diner because of its convenience, and I'm sure they'll set up a donation box in the front of the lobby there. But hopefully,
Not wheelchair accessible.
what's that?
Not wheelchair accessible.
Okay, and then we'll pick a second location, Lee, for the Thursday one then. Thank you. But again, I want to get folks to provide some donations, help fill the the food shelf this time of year. So thank you for that consideration. Jody?
Just because I'm new, I'm not familiar. Mayor's coffees or counselor coffees?
Well, certainly counselors are welcome to come. I organized them, but many counselors came to the sessions and sat in, and they're welcome to. Any counselor is welcome to.
Okay, thanks.
The food share, is there any listing of what items are short in supply? Is that posted anywhere, just so folks know what the need is? I'm sure anything is accepted, but sometimes there's things that are needed more than others, so I just didn't know.
It's on the social service website.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's a full list. Thank you, Kath. Any other council comments? Jeff?
Thank you. A couple things this evening. CLMP has approached us with a pilot project. As you know, Eversource now, the streetlights are still sodium vapor, and there's been discussions about going to LED, and they finally selected a product to try out. So what they want to do, they've picked 30 communities to do a pilot project where they will replace 50 lamps along a single stretch of road at their cost, and then see how the LED works in terms of the entire community. So we met with them today. We're looking at using Wolcott Hill Road from Prospect North. There's a 52 light run for comparison. of the sodium vapor. It also comes with, if once these are changed out, the LED has a lower power cost versus the sodium vapor, and it has a longer life. So we have talked in the past, and other communities have done this, of actually purchasing the streetlights because there was a resistance or a slowness of CLMP to turn over to LED. So if this works out, we'll still realize the savings of an LED light in terms of power and length of time, but it won't require the town to take them over and manage them to realize those savings. So I think this is a very positive project for us to look at. So that'll happen by the end of the year. They're going to change out those 50 lights. We also, Physical Services got a cemetery grant to help with the leaf collection at First Church Cemetery. So they got a grant from the state for that to help pick up those leaves out of that cemetery. So that was a pretty positive thing. So.
Thanks, Jeff. Are we on schedule with leaf pickup? It looks like it's going pretty well right now.
It's going real well. The weather's been fantastic. People have been very cooperative. Most of the leaves are down. So we're starting the second pass now by the end of the week.
Terrific. Thanks to our
So
staff.
if those of you who don't have your leaves done, get them done. Because it's a ticking time bomb with the weather. It could turn. It hasn't yet, but get them done anyway.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay. I'm sorry.
None?
Dolores, anything?
No, just that your minutes, I did change the header, I just didn't reprint them and hand them out again on the minutes for October 19th.
Okay, make sure we'll make note of it when we approve. We'll move on to council action. There are no resignations or appointments for any boards or commissions this week, so we'll move right to 3.1B1C.
Motion to approve the ordinance amending Chapter 10, Article 14 of the Code of the Town of Wethersfield as it pertains to membership of the Advisory Committee for People with Disabilities.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is a proposed ordinance to reduce the number of people required as part of that committee. As you've heard over time, quorums are difficult to get. So we modeled this off our similar ordinance we did for another committee. It's got the support of the committee itself, so we'd recommend adoption.
Discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Tony?
After discussions with some people, the suggestion was made to increase it from 8 to 9 regular members so that if there's a deciding vote that it could pass instead of being 4 and 4 with a tie. So I make a motion to amend this ordinance to change the active members or the main members from 8 to 9. It'll still leave the quorum requirement at 5.
Very good. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion about that? Okay, let's let's pass the vote to amend. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, and then any other further discussion on it with the amended? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. There's no unfinished business. We have item 3A.
Motion to accept the revised boating fees for the Wethersfield Cove for the 2016 boating season.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'll ask Kathy Bagley, Director of Parks and Recreation, to come up and fill you in on this item.
Thank you. Hi, Kath. How are you?
Good, thanks. Good evening. These are our boating fees for the Cove operation. What we've been doing is working with the Advisory Parks and Recreation Board. We've been looking at the fees over a number of years, and the goal was always to wait till the new docks were in, see how that all worked out, the new moorings that are in also, and then just look at our boating fees, again, as it related to other area towns. So we did a survey of the other area towns that were on the river also, looked at our fees, and then made some recommendations to propose to the council this evening. Probably the biggest difference, and where we got a lot of feedback from the public, was with our canoes and kayak fees. We currently do charge for those fees, have had a lot of residents come out and speak to not having a fee. When we did our area survey, no one else charges for canoes or kayaks. So that's why you see the proposal to also be free for canoes and kayaks for a lot of different reasons.
Thank you, Kath. Questions for Kathy from the council? Mike?
I have a comment. because I'm on the rec advisory board. I'm the liaison. The canoes and kayaks have come up over the last probably 4 years, people coming down, and they're putting their boats in probably on an unsafe side of the cove and just trying to get around the fees when no one else has a fee for those. So I would agree to not have a fee.
Thanks, Mike. Good. Jody?
They kind of answered my question.
Okay, good. Mike?
I'd just like to give recognition. I don't see him tonight, but Jim Whitworth was really instrumental in doing this. He came before us a couple months ago, and I know he's written me, and I'm sure he's written all of you guys as well. But I think that's a great example where some residents' concerns and the actual use of communication with us to get something done is instrumental in doing this. So thank you, Jim, if you're watching.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the point. Other comments? Kathy, thank you for the information. We have a motion and a second in front. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Motion
Thank you.
passes. B4 is bids. Our first bid on Emerson Williams Charles Wright.
Motion to accept the bid from New Systems Associates of $69,350 for door and lock replacement at Emerson Williams and Charles Wright Schools.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is a capital improvement project that the town has budgeted in its annual capital improvement budget. Mr. Bushy prepared the bids and solicited the bids for the doors and locks. He's here this evening to answer any questions, but he is recommending a vendor this evening, New Systems Associates, for $69,350.
Thank you, Jeff. Fred, could you come up, because I'm sure there'll be a couple of questions from council. Council? Questions? Tony?
Fred, I know we had something before on Emerson. I assume this finishes up Emerson Williams?
Yes, it does.
Will this also finish up Charles Wright too, or
No,
there's more to do?
Charles Wright, there's only one door that's being done at Charles Wright, and that's the main door. This is just a chart of what the doors are actually being done, with a little key there. I apologize for not having this in your packet.
Thank you, Fred.
Enough?
I have it.
Donna, did you have a question?
I did, and it was related to the bids that came in. There's 4 bids, and there's quite a disparity amongst the bids. 3 bids from Connecticut, and only the one bid that, it's a low bid of $69,350. The next bid up was $85,000, the next up was $99,882, and then the last one was $105,000. I'm just looking to see why there was such a disparity, and it's an out-of-state bidder. Is there something that's different from in-state and out-of-state contractors?
Not contracting, I don't believe, Ms. Hammond, but as I was vetting this through, because I also, when I seen the numbers, kind of big difference between number 1 and number 2. I contacted the vendor. I just wanted to make sure that that they understood that the specification was what was there. There was no substitutions. And he wrote back to me that, yes, absolutely. He says, we're going to follow it right through with, whatever you said. There was one substitution, and that was done through the bid process to substitute a door, a different brand name of door, but still a 16-gauge metal door with stiles on top, bottom, and in the middle. And that's the strength of the door that holds the door together. So, looking at that, I contacted a couple of schools that they have worked at in the state of Massachusetts, and they all gave them a positive review with their spec that they put out, and they followed it right to the T.
They've not done any work in Connecticut?
Not that I know of, ma'am.
Do you recall which communities they had done work in?
This was in, I believe, Wilbraham, Mass, Lowell, Mass. It was another college, Mr. Berry, and that escapes me. I can definitely get that information for you if necessary.
All reports were positive? Was it?
Everybody said that they did a fantastic job. They've had no callbacks, with the exception of, these are all mechanical devices. Mechanical devices tend to fail, but they came back, they took care of the door, and everything was fine. And it also meets the criteria I have as far as warranty through Allegiant Corporation, which encompasses door hardware, door frames, and the door locks and doors themselves. We've used them in the past up in Massachusetts. They couldn't get me any sort of a negative reason for me to discard this, so.
Jody?
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Bushy, do you know, has all this gone through the security director? Is he good with these doors and
Absolutely.
these locks?
Absolutely.
And you said Charles Wright has the front door that we're doing?
The main door going in, yes.
And what about their exterior doors?
We've done a few exterior doors there at Charles Wright already. There's more to be done. There's more to be added to this. This is just with the pot of funding that we had. This is what I was able to do.
But this will close out Emerson.
This will definitely close out Emerson Williams.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jody. Mike, Rel?
Actually, Jody, I think, answered it, but it does trouble me that they hadn't done, New Systems Associates out of Massachusetts hasn't done any work in Connecticut.
Connecticut?
After Newtown, the legislature and the governor signed into law a number of increased security measures for our schools. And I guess by Jody's, or your answer to Jody's question with the school security director, he signed off on these, and
He's definitely on board with it, Mr. Rell.
okay. And you're comfortable with that as well?
I'm comfortable that Mr. Even was able to, shed some light on this, and he's happy that that this new door and hardware will be in place. And we just need to continue our quest to get the rest of the district in the same place.
Okay. Second question, not pertaining to the security. Is there a time frame? Are you looking at doing this over the holiday break, or is this more something long-range, summertime?
Oh, this could actually start now. I'm going to have New Systems work with both myself and Mr. Latarullo and Fire Marshal Dignati about closing one entrance off at a time. We've done this in the past, as when we did the front doors at Emerson School, the whole front facade. We had, during the school day, we just had an alternate egress plan for the children to leave the building if they had to. So that's how we're gonna approach this. There are a couple of doors there that do have to be done on a weekend time, because they are in the back, and those would be doors marked in yellow, 104 and 105, because they directly go into classrooms. So obviously I can't do that during the day, and won't do that during the day.
Thanks, Fred.
Mike Hurley?
I had a couple questions. I think you answered one of them. The Emerson Williams front doors are totally complete?
That's correct.
Okay. And then in our package on page 11, it just mentions Emerson Williams. That's not some confusion why the price is lower too, right? This does include Charles Wright, even though it only mentions Emerson Williams?
I don't know what document you have there, Mr. Hurley, so.
The actual bid tab states Emerson and Charles Wright.
Yeah, it is only the one door at Charles Wright. We chose the main door to go with that, if that answers your question.
It does, as long as this document is wrong.
Well, we prepared this, so a majority of the work's based upon this set of specs.
Okay, as long as this document's wrong and it does have Charles Wright in it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good catch.
I see that.
Other questions from council? Jody?
I have a follow-up question, Mr. Bushy. When we do work like this, and I don't recall in my Board of Ed experience, whether we ever answered this question, we have to pull permits to do this, correct?
That's correct.
And so the schematics of the schools will then be updated so that the fire, the police, Mr. Even can
That's
all have an updated schematic?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
The outline of the building will not change. It'll just be the doors, the upgrade of the actual doors and hardware.
Thank you.
Tony?
Fred, looking at this, when we approve this project at this amount tonight, within our packet, we're advised that there's $55,178 left in funding. Will you be turning around to put out a bid to do the
Charles
rest?
Wright.
To do the rest of Charles Wright as
Yes.
soon as possible?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When would you be doing that? When?
I'm working on a bid right now for the cameras that we have on CIP for camera surveillance in the building. We've actually got a meeting Thursday about this, and with the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, that week is gonna be kind of shot. A week after that, both Mr. Even and I are gonna go to Charles Wright and kind of identify the doors that really need to be done 100% of what we think could possibly be a security breach.
Okay. Fred, thank you for getting this project
Yes,
in the
sir.
pipeline for us. I look forward to getting it done, securing our school that much better. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you for coming, Fred.
Thank you.
4B.
Motion to accept the recommendation of the Wethersfield High School Building Committee and approve change order number 507 with Ferguson Electric for additional electrical work in the auditorium.
Second?
A motion and a second on this request. Let's see, I know, Jeff, you have overview on it, but is there anybody here from the building committee other than
Mike is
Steve?
here from the building committee to
okay,
answer
good.
any specific questions. The memo outlines the 5 components of this particular change order, so Mike can answer any specific questions.
So, Mike, it looks like looking at this, that this change occurred as a result of once the auditorium walls and the electrical service behind the stage was open, and the determination of the switch from incandescent to LED became a spec that only once those walls were opened were they able to determine what would be required to actually make that accommodated.
That is correct.
So, and that occurred in the recent few weeks, and the building committee has met to review the cost to make that modification?
Yes,
Okay.
we just met last week.
Okay.
Was it at the Monday's meeting,
Yes,
this past Monday?
yes.
And what, the building committee was in favor of it? I assume, did they actually vote on it or just
Yes,
discuss it?
no, they voted on it.
They voted to
recommend-
approve this, to
recommend,
forward it to us.
Council approve.
Okay, questions about it from council?
Yeah, and just so that you're aware too, part of the funding for this, I think item 4 specifically comes out of our FF&E budget because we have the sound systems and what have you, set aside in the FF&E, the furniture and fixtures budget. The rest of it comes from contingency.
And in terms of time frame, is it changing the time on our schedule at all?
No, it will not change the time period. No.
Okay, very good. Jody?
How are you?
How are you?
I noticed that on the change order, there was a certain date that the price actually has to be approved by,
Yeah.
and we're past that. Are we?
Ferguson Electric does that as a standard so that, things aren't drawn out or, it may affect different labor rates and stuff. But we've been negotiating with them, kind of fine tuning this proposal, so that that's not an issue.
So that won't change? In addition, I did notice that it does not include overtime costs for any labor done. Do we anticipate that being a problem?
We don't because we're working in an unoccupied space. So they have free and clear access during the day.
So there shouldn't be any overtime?
No.
Thank you.
Other council questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second in front of us. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Good, thank you, Mike. Okay. We have no ordinance resolutions for introduction. Oh, the sidewalk repair, that's right, I see. Sorry, I missed that. Sidewalk motion.
Motion to approve the bid in the amount of $28,750 to West Pro Limited.
Second?
Ltd.
A motion, a second. Jeff?
We're doing some sidewalk repairs at Emerson Williams, 25 from the capital fund. We're gonna take 37 from the operating budget, 3750 from the operating budget for sidewalks to finish the project. Mike's here to answer any specific questions. There is a map in the packet of the areas that will be repaired.
Mike, it looks like on the front section right by the entrance, they're actually doing kind of a pressed concrete. Is that to make it look more like a pathway?
No, it's more used like an existing ramp.
Okay.
So it's just spalled beyond repair, so it.
Yeah,
really
that's all
needs to just be
chopped up.
Replaced and what have you.
And then these areas are off the parking lot.
Right, the other targeted areas seem to be at expansion joints. You know, it's a concrete curb and a concrete walk that's poured integral along the north and the east side. And, you know, I believe it's just, you know, salt off of vehicles and things like that that's just deteriorated the concrete.
That's good. Questions, other questions for Mike on this? Yep. Sort of in contrast to the Indian Orchard, even though that's only a couple miles over the line, it is nice that West Pro continues to be such a capable and competent bidder in town. They do almost all of our work, and it is a Wethersfield company and is always very dedicated, so it's a good story for Wethersfield and for him. We have a motion and second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Thank you. Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
Mike. Approval of the minutes of October 19th with the correction by Dolores as noted.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes of October 19, 2015.
Second?
Motion and second. Any changes, deletions? Several of our new folks won't be able to vote, but that's fine. All in favor? Opposed, abstentions?
Abstain.
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 Thank you. Okay. Public comment? Any other public comment this evening? Yes. You have to actually come up to the podium by the mic so we can get it on the record. Thank you. No problem.
My name's Sean Ruger, 269 Ridge Road. Don't want to really have a long comment here, but I just wanted to take a minute to thank the 5 members of the council that came down to the library today and took part in the meeting that we had with the development group. And I heard our neighbors' concerns about what's going on over there. And I know a couple of the other gentlemen, I believe, Mr. Barry and Mr. Martino, you guys were present there for the last meeting, so thank you as well. But I hope to see a little bit more participation from some of the other members of the committee, Mr. Mayor, yourself included. We had a brief meeting with you at the Wethersfield Country Club in the beginning of this whole process, and I was a little bit disturbed to hear that the other members of the council had not been briefed on that meeting taking place and did not have their opportunity to also stand there with us in the meeting. So anyways, there's a lot of concerns with the neighbors, and some of them showed up here tonight. We do look forward to the planning and zoning meetings that will follow the meetings that we have had already. And if you guys could just kind of go to bat for us, we need some help here. So,
Thanks, Sean.
thank you.
Other comment? Bob Young?
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
Real quick. Just for and I was downstairs for that meeting, for those, excuse me one second, Bob. For those residents concerned about the Ridge Road project, please go to planning and zoning, because it's great that you came to this meeting with the developer, but to get it on the record, you gotta go to the planning and zoning hearings, so that's really where those issues get fleshed out, so, that's all. I can find out and we'll get that information out. Mhm.
Good evening again, Robert Young, 20 Copper Mill Road. Tonight you spoke about the fees, schedule fees for the Wethersfield Cove for boating. And my next door neighbor has a boat, and he's been growling for a long time about these increases. that he has, and I think he's taking now his boat somewhere else because he doesn't want to pay the fee, as well as the taxes that he has to pay on his house. So I just wanted to get that out. Secondly, the doors and locks at Emerson and Charles Wright, it doesn't surprise me to hear that an out-of-state guy comes in with a lower bid, Mayor. As I've been saying, Connecticut's a very expensive state to do business in. It's very expensive for residents to live here. It's very expensive for everybody. I know the towns feel it's expensive too, but I think the towns should be very considerate to the people who live here and retain these people by keeping taxes down. If I remember correctly, we had an extremely low amount of, what do you call it, the grand list increase this year. Very little increase, if all, if any at all. But we get a 3.7% increase in our taxes. And next year is going to be more, because if I remember correctly, Mayor, you sat here and you made some kind of prediction that next year will be even more. And we're going to be looking at it with these expenses coming in and all this heavy buying that we're doing. You don't live like the rest of us. Like I say, you're all up there, and we down here have to pay the money to keep you up there. You got to come down to us. I don't know when it's going to happen, Mayor. Maybe when Hartford, state of Connecticut, loses ability to pay more money here and things really tighten up. But again, I don't think things are getting better. Next. Charter revision. I'm sorry. Tony mentioned Mike Zaleski. He's chairman of the Waterfront Recapture. You should have also mentioned that he's a distinguished individual here in town, Tony. You know, he was one of the hot shows on the Charter Revision Commission that came in with some wordsmithing changes to our charter that needed to be updated to this century that we're in. Mr. Zielinski kept us, as well as others, back in the 1600s with the few little wordsmithings that they did. It was pathetic, actually. But you should, you know, when you mention someone who's a big hotshot like a riverfront recapture guy, chairman, you should also mention he was part of us here and, you know, some committees he's on. It would be helpful so people would know who you're talking about. And Mayor, you spoke about there's great need in town. You're absolutely right. There is a lot of need in this town. But when you impose a 3.7% increase in taxes on the residents, yet on the other hand you say, we have a great need in town. What does that say? It's the spur of the moment kind of conversation that we have a great need, but then later on you give everybody the business. There isn't any path here coming from this group that shows that you want to retain people, that you want people to stay here. You're telling people to get out by raising taxes the way you do. And I hope this next round, you look at the budget in a different manner and reduce. And I would recommend, and as I keep recommending, you do your budgeting based on the way businesses do it. Because all this giveaway stuff has to stop. Then you mentioned, someone mentioned tonight, maybe it was the manager, CLMP is planning on replacing 50 lights at their cost. I really like that, their cost. That cost comes out of the ratepayers. Let's be honest about things. Let's not give them a bump up, Eversource. What they're going to put out there on the street lights are coming out of the ratepayers' pockets. Plain and simple. But I guess that's how government is. You twist and turn. And then, of course, here we have, we get a grant for picking up leaves. More free money from the state of Connecticut, or wherever you're getting it from. And I guess my question, Mayor, is that money going to be borrowed money, or is it going to be current revenue? Does anybody know? Because they've been taking a lot of borrowed money and spreading it around to help this recession that we're supposed to have been in, but it hasn't worked, because you cannot buy yourself out of a recession. You need to drop your costs. You need to bring everything down, and then you work your way back up. That's why Connecticut's never recovered since 2002 recession. And if we hit, and if the reports are right that I heard tonight about manufacturing now is in a recession, we're just going to roll over. Thank you, Mayor. Good night.
Hey, Bob. Any other comments, public comments? Tom?
Tom Mazzarella, 600 Walcott Hill Road. Just one question. I was pleased to see the Weight Watchers facility may get torn down and the site redeveloped. I see there's a $900,000 State Department of Economic Community Development grant as part of the deal, and another $200,000 state grant to tear down the existing building. And I'm just wondering if there's going to be a tax abatement that's going to be proposed for the site, and if so, will the public be advised of that in advance, or will it be a last-minute thing? Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Any other public comment? Tom, just so you know, there is no tax abatement proposed or planned at this time on that project. Jim? I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
A second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.